postponed for 2 more weeks so that people can get some information and go to the meeting with some questions. But I'd like to be more up to date with the important information meetings that we need to know about. And, you know, it wasn't posted on the website. It wasn't posted anywhere. It was posted at City Hall inside and on the outside door. But if anybody knows, you can't go to City Hall, so who would know about the meeting? So that's, I just want to make sure that, you know, we can be notified a little bit better about these certain meetings. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I have that in my notes to do a better job to broadcast those kind of things.
As a follow-up to that, the new meeting, the one that was postponed, is going to be August 4th at 10 a.m. Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Jenny Seifert. I live on Rosemont Avenue. Hi. I have a question. I'm wondering if you can expand a little bit on what you mentioned earlier about your previous conversations about rodent control, because that's been a real problem in my neighborhood and on my street specifically recently, and I don't think it will probably get better when they start messing about.
No, definitely not. So as part of the building permit process, they have to do pre-baiting. So they'll start that. There'll also be rodent control as an ongoing part, but especially leading up to demolition, which according to the current schedule will start the first week in September. So abatement, there's asbestos in the current buildings that has to be taken care of, and then demolition of the current buildings. But as we get closer to those kind of steps, more things will be published, including how you report, you know, seeing rats, seeing whatever. So that'll all be part of the process as an ongoing thing.
Okay, but they are going to be mitigating that.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yes, both before and during.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
I actually, related to that, from the last meeting, I have notes to get actually from the construction company what they're actually doing, like the bait stations, the remediation. So as that stuff comes in, we'll put that out there.
Hi, Patrick Rooney, 536 Lexington. So my first question is about the fence, and I remember from the last meeting, I wasn't here, but you know, it was maybe commented that it was going to be around the whole property. So I have like an 800-foot piece of my property that would be covered in fence. So I wanted to know, do we have a say over what type of fence is going to be put up? When is the fence supposed to go up, and will it be different in sections, or is it planned to just have one fence? And then I guess a follow-up to that would be, it's going to be like a 4-year-long construction project. So would it be a chain link fence that entire time, or would it be planned to, you know, a new one put in once construction was finished?
That's a really great question.
Yeah, so fairly soon the construction fencing, the temporary stuff that makes it a construction zone, will go up. As far as a fence around the whole property, it's not planned to have a 360-degree perimeter fence. The southern border is, which way south? Yeah, this way. So if we're facing from Lexington Street in, the southern border will be fenced. And the plan is an 8-foot chain link fence. The other fencing is at the top and the bottom of the rock wall, and then gates at the Lexington Street inlet for the emergency road. But they did seem open to input from the community on, you know, the aesthetics of the fence and things like that. I did ask. They don't know what the fence will look like. I asked them for a picture of it, because we can all picture your basic chain link fence, top and bottom rail, and right. And if it's 8 foot, it can't just be 8 foot of chain link. So they did let me know as they get closer to, you know, supply and things like that, as they get ready to construct that fence, they would be open to feedback, and as well as give us pictures of what it will look like.
Okay, and who would would we work with?
Me or Karen? Yeah. Consigli, the construction company, would be ultimately the one doing the installation and putting it out to bid and all that kind of thing with subcontractors.
Okay. But they
Does that
are
answer your
open
question?
Yeah, I think so. But they are open to, you know, potential changes.
Yeah, and to be honest, they were open to all feedback. I think Consigli, one of their selling points, for lack of a better word, was how engaged they stay with the community and their projects. And thus far, I mean, I'm only a month into the job, but thus far they've been very, very responsive.
Okay, great. And one follow-up off that, so with the fence, there was talk of trailers. So with the fence, there was talk of construction trailers
Yep.
going in as well. So would we similarly have a say as to where those were located, and I guess also when would those potentially be going in?
They don't have an exact day. It's all, you know, like a ripple effect based on when they get permits and access and things like that. They do have in the design, there's some laydown areas that they have already pre-booked, but should that become a problem, then absolutely we can bring that up with them and they will work with us on stuff like that. You're talking about the office trailers that
Yeah, I
are
was
there
looking at
for a
where
while.
they were going. It looks like within 20 feet of my
Oh, okay.
house. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so let's keep in contact when that stuff starts to be delivered and see if we can work
Yeah,
that
even
through.
like if we could work with them prior to, so we could plan
Okay.
out where they go.
Yeah. So I'll take down as to get their exact locations where they plan to plant them, and I'll make that available. And what was the address again, Patrick?
536.
Thank you.
Bill, can we clarify the chain link fence that's going around the rock wall? That is technically, like, if I'm not, I mean, I'm just throwing numbers out, like 2/3 of the way around, kind of, right?
I don't know. I don't know how long, like, linear it is.
Right.
I know 100 to 115 feet high, but I don't know the total distance without seeing the diagrams in front of me.
So does that effectively stop kids from walking to school that direction? I mean, they're going to be faced with a rock wall, so they
Right.
can't walk anyway. So, okay, so if we have the south side and then all around the rock wall, we pretty much, I mean, there isn't that much left to fence in.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. I mean, the only egress for walkers we expect is Lexington Street.
Right. Right. So
I have a question about that.
sure, absolutely.
Philip Sharman here, 26 Lincoln Terrace. I'm concerned about the gate planned for the emergency access road. I remember the time when we were told that we wouldn't even need an emergency access road. Many of us were in disbelief about that. We didn't see how that was feasible. Here we are planning for an emergency access road. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe an emergency access road also must be an emergency egress road. And this talk about a fence might not, in the end, apply to that gate. I fear we're going to end up with a bar gate that would keep vehicles out, but not 500 kids a day going to and from school. As much as I would like to prevent that, and everyone, you know, I mean, I purchased that piece of property because we have a cul-de-sac, you know, in the backyard as well as the front, and that's about to be repurposed, I fear, as an emergency access and egress road with tremendous, you know, foot traffic. So I'd like to know, I'm not looking to give anyone ideas, but I want us to be forthright about what the plans are for that road. Because if it
Yeah.
ends up repurposed,
Sure.
as
And
I fear, I'm out of it.
Yeah,
Others
no,
are too.
I hear you. We talked about it for quite a bit of time at the last meeting, and even calling it an access road is something the project team doesn't even like to say. So it really is a road that, should there be a forest fire, should the firefighters not have enough draw for water from the actual property itself to fight a fire, that they will use that road to get to those hydrants.
What if the kids need to run for their lives?
Then they're
You
running
can't
wherever they go.
You can't chain them in. Let's
Understood, right.
So let's be honest about that and address that. Could you please find out what the definitive plans are for that? Because I don't want to be bamboozled about the purpose of that road.
No, I know the definitive plans.
And the gate.
But again, the gate will be there with only access for the fire department to get through it. But again, if there's a fire at the school, I'll have two sons. I have two sons that are in high school. I would hope they would run through someone's yard. You know what I
Planning a
mean?
bar gate for vehicles, or are we planning to keep foot traffic out?
Yeah, that's what I'll have to find out. I don't know what the gate
Okay.
actually will look like, but yeah, we'll find that out. And you're talking about at the Lexington Street inlet extension, yeah?
I actually do want to bring something along those lines up. This school, where we're at right now, right behind us, has trails that go all the way across the city. I'd like to know, in addition to the fact that we're really close to the access road that goes out onto Forest Street, I'd like to know how many kids really do walk to school. Do they use the paths? Do they cut through down here?
Yeah, we don't have any information on any of that. It's purely anecdotal, so we've kept it out of a lot of the documentation because we can't definitively say, all right, 48 kids from Lakeview walk to school, 32 from Piety Corner, so none of that information really is available.
What about any feedback from the neighbors who live here? I mean, we know that they signed up to have a fence there. They know that kids can come walk in and out. I'm just wondering if there's any feedback. Is it an issue or not?
Yeah, so when we discussed the answers from last week, of which there were a ton of questions about